Hey, it's Mike. In my year or two using the Steam controller, I dove into a crazy rabbit hole all about aiming in video games. My goal with these videos is to show everyone that aim assist is super overrated, and to show you guys how to change up the way you use your controller. I'll get into all that stuff later. First I want to talk about the normie way of using a controller. Aim assist. Now, touchy subject nowadays, do not take me for a full-on aim assist hater. By the end of this video, you'll understand why I have this stance. The normal way of using a controller is archaic. The default 2-stick layout has been around for many years. You ever hear two people argue about aim assist? It usually starts out like this. I think aim assist is too strong. And then the next guy says, but that's not fair, you get a mouse. That's so much better than what I have. But they never end up asking the real question. We know that the mouse is so much better than aiming on a stick. It's obvious. So why do we still aim with sticks if it's so much more inferior? Over all these years of controller development, we still haven't bothered trying to change that? Well, there is a way. First, we have to mention the pros and cons of a controller. First, the pros. It's definitely very nice to have a set of buttons in a humane layout molded around your hands rather than a huge array on a keyboard. I don't know about you, but having my hands rest in my lap is huge. It's comfortable and definitely more ergonomic. Imagine you're a keyboard and mouse gamer. You want to play in front of your TV? All these TVs coming out nowadays are crazy. 140 Hz on a TV with G-Sync and less than 30 milliseconds input lag? Why don't you go and relax on the couch and play some games without any compromises to your gameplay? One small problem. You have to use a controller. Sure, you can get a clunky, made-for-couch keyboard and mouse, but wow, that's awfully unappealing. Especially if you want to play casual games as well. This is where a controller will come in, relaxing and comfortable. But that's right, you don't want to compromise. Well, first off, aiming with a stick isn't so bad on games like Call of Duty if you like playing casually. Targets aren't too fast, and the time to kill is low. Aim assist will help you with things a stick can't do. Precision is almost impossible to nail down on a stick, so the aim assist will help you hit your shots as long as you can keep your crosshair inches away from your target. Time for the cons. Well, the biggest one. It's a stick. It lacks arm aiming precision, and like mentioned earlier, it needs aim assist because of that. Aim assist just simply can't help in a majority of the games where precision is key, like playing Cassidy in Overwatch. Gotta hit most of your shots. Sure, if you're good enough you can land half or most of them, but I guarantee you aren't even probably trying to hit as many headshots. It's just not worth going for them. Ever played Apex or Splitgate? People fly all over the place in those games. Good luck landing all your shots on a wall-jumping Apex player. You can't use aim assist to hit far-away enemies either. A computer can't help you aim with bullet drop-off. If only there was a setting you could use to help you and that poor stick out a bit. It's no secret that aim assist is a slur at this point. People use it as an excuse, devs don't know how to implement it. Sometimes there's not enough aim assist, and sometimes there's a little too much. You get the picture.
33 months. Do I get a lifetime sub?
What? It's super controversial, but it doesn't have to be. Let's look at Warzone. So many people know how strong aim assist is in that game. Even console players agree that, yeah, it's pretty strong. Is it OP? It's hard to tell because, like I said, long-range engagements are very hard for a controller. However, controller players destroy in close-range engagements, and people want it nerfed. I will admit, as someone who is never good with a controller, I've never gotten so many kills I didn't deserve after I picked up my PlayStation controller up in the Modern Warfare 2 beta. Overwatch 2. No aim assist on PC. It's already extremely hard to aim in that game, and they don't even give you aim assist. Alright, well, is there an alternative way to aim? No. You're stuck in a major disadvantage. What the hell? Blizzard supports gyro on the Nintendo Switch, so why not on PlayStation or PC? Let's look at Siege. At the time of making this video, they just unlocked crossplay, but it's only between console. If you guys don't know, Siege has no aim assist. Instead, they have dramatic aiming curves to help to try to steady your aim. Their excuse? Well, we don't want to put controller players against mouse players. It's a disadvantage. Bullshit. You just don't know how to use a controller. Everyone on Siege has been plagued by Zim users. Basically, Zim is an adapter to let people play with mouse and keyboard on console. The console will register it as controller input, so it sees it as a controller and lets you play. They complain about it all the time, but there's a better way to handle them. Let them just use a mouse and keyboard on the console. And better yet, let people on controller use gyro aim to be on par with them. After all, freedom is awesome. I'll show you here why it's so good. I can use the gyro on my controller to completely eliminate the recoil. Siege is a recoil-intensive game, and being able to tilt the controller down like this is already a huge step up. I've been playing all my shooters for the past couple of weeks on a PS4 controller against all PC players just to prove my point. If you've been paying attention to the clips, you might have noticed something is very off about the way that I'm playing.
Gun that shoots the fire rounds. I
Get
think it's pretty good.
fucking pissed on, bro.
Dude! Flick stick is OP! That is where flick stick comes into play. There is one very massive con about a controller that is very apparent if you've used one before. It's impossible to flick. What if you're playing Call of Duty and you need to quickly react to some dude camping in a corner? What if you're playing Siege and your teammate tells you over the comms, "Hey, watch out, they're right behind you." You jam your stick to the right and slowly rotate around, but by the time your character turns around, you're dead. That's not fair. Let me tell you something else. You're already a pro gyro aimer. And we've already discussed how inferior the stick is. So imagine this. You don't aim with a stick. Ever. Not once. After all, why would you? It sucks ass. Besides, you have the gyro already. If you're ready to take your controller to the next level, you're going to want to use what's called flick stick. You see how it looks like I'm flicking to the sides every so often? If I didn't have the controller on the screen, you'd probably think I was just playing on a keyboard and mouse. It's actually a very simple concept. The only confusing part is trying something new. Imagine the stick is a top-down perspective of your character. If you press it up, or in this case forward, nothing will happen because you're already looking in that direction. Now look, if I press it down, or in this case, backwards, I 180 in a fraction of a second. The stick corresponds to a horizontal direction I want to face. Then I aim with the gyro. If you want to aim with a flick stick, you're going to have a higher sense for your gyro than normal, because most of your aim will be there instead of the sticks. One easy way to get used to the stick is pointing it forward and then turning it in circles to turn around. Another way I aim sometimes is just using the gyro and pointing it 90 degrees either direction to aim. Both works, it's up to you. I haven't mastered this by any means, as I've only been using it for about 2 weeks, but I can assure you that it's on par with mouse and keyboard. It's for sure way easier to aim on this than a regular controller, and at least for me, easier than using a controller with aim assist turned on. The main benefit Steam Input has is allowing you to play games on PC that don't have controller support or that don't have aim assist built in. Who needs aim assist when you got this? This is my layout I have for Flickstick. It's not going to be the same for pretty much any game depending on what your sense is, because you have to make sure the Flickstick sensitivity is perfect for you to rotate around according to where the stick shows you pointing. I usually like to keep my gyro sense a little lower than default. On PlayStation controllers it's pretty high, at least for the in-game sense that I use. I mess with the gyro a lot, and it seems that it always works the best when I have the smoothing all the way down. I tried having it with a little bit and with a lot, and to me it just feels the best when I have it all the way off. It just feels as raw as possible. It's not that jittery if you just keep your hand still, I promise you. But that's just because I'm competitive. I don't think there's a reason to have it on. I just notice it feels a little sluggish, and by default you can see the arrow there, it's set to half. What you're going to want to do is come to joysticks and see here where it says joystick behavior, change it from just joystick to flick stick. Make sure to rebind if it unbinds it. I don't know if it does that anymore, but make sure to rebind the clicking the stick to right stick click, because if you change it, sometimes it changes that. And this is the one that you're going to want to change to make sure the stick corresponds in the right direction. Usually I have to put it somewhere halfway or it's way too much. There's an easy way to tell. You just stick your stick up and then just turn it in a circle and you should do a 360. This is my desktop mode layout. This is the kind of layout you would have to use with a game that doesn't support mixed input with controller and mouse. Now, if that happens, you can't use Flickstick as it emulates the mouse to do flicking motions, which we talked about before you can't do on a stick. And if the game doesn't let you use mouse input and controller input at the same time, you can get around it by binding, which it has good defaults for you. There's a lot of custom community stuff, but you have to get around it by binding every keyboard key you want to a button. And I promise you, it's actually not bad because you know what the buttons do. Once you get used to it, it just makes sense. Like, you don't need to read the glyphs. You've played the game before, you know how a controller works. The only problem people have with that is usually you have to bind the left stick to W, A, and D. But I don't really slow walk with a stick when I play competitive shooters, so it's up to you. Luckily, as you saw, Siege does support mixed input, so I can use the stick how it's supposed to be used. I have A, B, X, and Y. Bound to jump. Back is E. Square is reload. Triangle is scroll wheel down for switching weapons. D-pad is simple. 1, 4, 3, 2. These are just for your kill streaks. This is the thing I like to do on trigger. I like to, well, obviously you can't use analog input because it's just bound to the mouse. Do soft pull for both. Going to the settings for trigger, and I like to change the threshold to be a lot less so you don't have to push the triggers that far down to shoot. I always found the PlayStation triggers to be a little mushy and I don't really like them. Remember to have analog off. It will probably be off by default if you select the template for keyboard and mouse. It does a lot of the stuff for you. You can just go in, remember what buttons you use for a specific game, and just map them to what you like. The desktop config for Steam will just play when you're tabbed out of Steam. So if I just window out and window into Modern Warfare, the buttons will apply to my controller because it's a non-Steam game. Steam thinks I'm just sitting on the desktop. Hey y'all, thank you for sticking through the video. If you guys enjoyed it. I'm not very good at these commentary videos, but I tried my best to relay my thoughts in a meaningful and entertaining way. Soon I'll have a Steam controller tutorial posted up for you guys, and maybe I'll make a mini gyro and flickstick compilation to show off what it can really do. Like it if you liked it, sub if you want to see more. I'm out.